Alright guys, what's up? Charles, mXrevival, and this is my buddy Len. He drove all the way down from Sacramento to hang out with me, and we're going to do some prototyping for you guys today on his SR250. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this and asking me and emailing me a lot about it, so we've got his stock carb that will probably end up in the garbage, and we have the Lectron, but before we throw it away, we want to make sure to get the right specs and settings for you guys. Len and I were able to connect because of these YouTube videos, which I think is probably one of the coolest things in the world. So he has been gracious enough to not only order his new Lectron from mXrevival.com, but it's also kind of a complete test. We don't know how it's going to go. We think we know how it's going to go. We know it's going to probably be great like the 300 was, so we're going to find out. He's our sacrificial lamb for the day, so we everyone tell Len thanks, and we're going to go ahead and try and get this carburetor weaseled into this bike. There are a few subtle differences in millimeters, just barely, between the air boot side and the intake side. So we brought a generator and a heat gun. It's like 2 millimeters max, so we may not need to do that, but we brought it just because we're out in the middle of nowhere and we don't want to break anything or tear anything, so just data logging for you guys. I wanted to also ask Len about his experience on the 250, the SR250 stock. What do you think about that stock carburetor?
Well, I had a lot of problems with it at first. I couldn't get it to jet right, and I noticed that it really isn't the right carburetor for the application because it's a two-stroke carburetor. I could either get it run really good at low end and not at top end, nothing in the mid,
right,
or vice versa. It'd run great top, bad low. Yeah. So I was just like, this is not going to work. And then I ran across your video of the Lectron, and I said, I got to do something.
So you were hunting and packing for either a good setting off idle or a good setting up top. And I think a lot of you guys are in that boat too, where the bike will bog, or it'll stall, or it'll foul plugs. So
another thing was it was hard to start. It would start cold great, and then hard to start. Okay. And even like trying to jetting to see, you know, like you pull your choke sometimes, and if it's running lean, you'll get more gas. Right. I couldn't get it to, it would not even fire up later on. So it's hard
to start once it was warmed up. Yeah. Like it just would crank. Mine was the same way. So needless to say, you guys have probably figured out by now that SSR has installed two-stroke carburetors in 4 strokes, and technically the Lectron is a 2-stroke body. That's why it fits in these bikes, or that's why I'm able to make them fit in these bikes. But even though that is the case and they're meant for 2 strokes, the tolerances in the machining are so much tighter, and the way it scavenges fuel into the engine is so much more precise that we're able to get away with it and kill the bog and make the bikes run really good top to bottom, at least with the 300. And the only difference between the 300 and the 250, aside from the obvious body and frame, is the engines are the same, with a bigger cylinder and piston on the 300. So essentially the same Zongshin NC250 or NC300 engines. I think we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna get Len all hopped up and see what he thinks of his new carburetor. I'll get some trail ride tests for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, we got Len hard at work here, slaving away on his 250S. And as you guys may already know, if you already watched the Lectron Carb install on the 300, you need to go ahead and pull your tank, pull your shrouds. Reason being, we need to reroute the new throttle cable because the Lectron has its own proprietary throttle cable. Your stock cable will not work. In some cases, if you want to make your life a little easier, you can either pull your subframe or at least rotate it up and have the tail up in the air. And that's so you can get the air boot onto the carburetor a little more simply. One thing that may stop you is the wiring and some of the lines that go back here. That's why flipping the tail up rather than pulling it off might be a good option for you. So far, every bit the same as a 250X in tank construction, the way the tank comes off. Same Skyrich battery, which is a really nice lightweight lithium battery that even the KTM uses. That's in the 300 as well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
You having a good time, huh?
I am, yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of fun.
You excited for your Lectron?
I am. I want to check it out. I know this bike can go a lot faster. It's got more horsepower that's not being used. I know that.
Yeah,
sure.
You can feel there's more in there.
There is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds just like me. All right, tank's out. A lot of room in there. As you can see, it'll be very easy to get to the throttle cable. Here's the old one here. This is coming out, and you can use this old cable as a guide when you put your new cable in so that you have the proper routing. All right, we got our first little hang up. The little barrel on the end of the stock cable versus that brass colored one on the Lectron cable, it's just a little bit fatter, so it's having just a little bit of trouble getting through into the actual throttle housing itself. We're gonna need to figure something out, but we're definitely going to figure it out and let you guys know. So that's and the first little roadblock here. All right, we got to file this down just a little bit somehow. I'm using the end of a breaker bar and maybe it'll get it done. It's just the difference of the tumbled or rounded edges on the stock throttle cable barrel between these ones on the brass end on the Lectron cable that are nice and sharp. So if we can dole these up on the edges just a little bit with some backyard engineering, some trailside engineering, I think we'll be well on our way. Len's looking for a file right now. Guys, I'm working on this end down here, getting these clamps as open as I can on both the air box here, air boot, and then the intake side, the engine side, so we can weasel that carburetor in.
Hey!
What did you get? You got it?
I got it,
all right,
man.
So what's the hot ticket there?
So the hot ticket is Charles ratchet.
Oh, we got the end of a breaker bar that was just kerneled enough to become a file.
Overcome and adapt. That's what it's all about.
We were just talking about how being resourceful will get you through just about anything.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in. So
we're in.
Square one for you guys. You need to file down just a hair, and obviously this got it done, and it's not a file. It's pretty dang soft. So that's great news. And now we're going to short the battery out by putting this bar on the battery terminals.
Oh wow.
Issue number 2, guys. The cable that we use on the 300 has a bigger set of threads on it here than the throttle housing itself. So we're working on something for that. There are 2 different sizes of these. I'm going to find out if I can get the right one, and if not, later on, then we just need to upgrade this whole thing if you have a 250, and then we can get it to dial in. I'm also going to check with Lectron on the next size down throttle cable in terms of this threaded portion here. I believe there are 2. This is the larger of the 2, the one I have on the 300. So we're just finding all the little bugs and kinks and documenting them there here for you guys today. All right, guys, I'm going to start trying to weasel the Lectron into this space here and just double check that the intake boot and the air boot fit these intake bells on the carburetor. So here goes nothing.
Oh, this is going to be plenty rubbery on the intake.
So that side's in. We're gonna have a bigger fight with the rear for sure. That clamp's gonna hold it all in place.
Because look, it's in there, man.
All right, guys.
I got it.
It's a bit of a struggle, but we got it with a heat gun. You got to be so careful. I accidentally ripped the pull tab off the bottom of this thing here. Maybe it's in the dirt somewhere. I'll find it for you, but we were able to get this boot on, the air boot, to the carburetor with just a little bit of heat. We started real cold. It's probably only 50-something degrees outside. No issues up here at all. This is pliable enough by itself, but you want to be really careful with your air boot, because if you ruin it, you're kind of just cooked anyways. We got the boot on, so now we're going to be able to clamp it. So we're riding today no matter what. No one's going to stop us. Guys, it's in. It was a bit of a fight, as we expected. Obviously, we brought the generator and the heat gun, but it's in there. It is absolutely 100% in there. Okay, guys, so we got the carb in. We got the cable in. The only thing we're fighting now, which I already mentioned, is that this cable, the threaded portion, does not fit this throttle housing. This same cable does fit the 300. For now, we're just going to go ahead. We have it well enough adjusted down here to where we have just a little bit of slack at full lock here and a little bit of slack at full lock here, and we're just going to have to run it. We're going to go ahead and brace this up with some zip ties because we're here and we need to hear this bike run, and it is what it is. Most importantly, you can hear the slide bottoming out in the carb. We know we don't have a raised idle or anything like that, so we're about to put the tank on. We're going to fill the bowl. All right, I'll come to the other side.
All right, sir.
And we're just trying to thread this fuel assembly here, the petcock, if you will. Weaseled through down below without destroying the radiator, and we're good. All right, guys, there's the broken piece of air boot. I heated it up a little too much. This is the little pull tang on the bottom of your bike's air boots. That snapped right off. Got her a little too hot, but we got the job done with the generator there, so really glad we brought that in a heat gun. Are you ready to fill the bowl?
I am. I'm ready.
All right, man, let's see it.
Let's do it.
Go ahead and fill that sucker up.
All right, here we go.
All right, we're gonna fill the bowl.
From sadness to gladness.
There she is.
Look
First ever SR250 Lectron bowl fill.
Okay, let's put the choke on.
Choke on.
And we're gonna fire this bad boy up. Look at that, nice and easy.
Easy to get to?
Yeah.
All right.
Turn the key on.
Turn the key on, let's see. You might need to fire the, or turn the choke off right away.
Okay.
Like mine. Oh, I wouldn't give it any gas. Just let her puff. There you go. She's puffing. All right.
It is.
That's no choke.
That's no choke.
No choke. And how's the, don't do anything yet.
I'm not gonna
yeah,
do
okay,
anything.
cool.
Look
Watch.
at that. That's amazing.
No choke. We haven't touched the idle.
No. We haven't done anything.
So, okay, right off the bat, you have noticed any difference in just the idle from your stock one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything, it's things current. Where the other one was so erratic, it was either way up high because you had the choke lever up here, and it was really, honestly, it was difficult to start because you have to pull the clutch in and you have to pull this little choke lever.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't have to do that, and then it would race.
Got it.
And so now look at this. No choke.
Yeah, you had some runaway revs, right? Kinda?
Yes, I did. Look at that.
Little throttle blip. Let's see what happens.
A little bit.
Oh, okay. She's a little cold.
Yeah.
It seems like the idle's a little bit low, but we'll turn that up because it's going to raise once it gets naturally warmer as well.
Sure.
It actually might have died because the fuel is not sucking.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, that thing doesn't vent. The bowl just filled back up. Okay, cool.
So this is the problem here.
So I think, yeah, we'll just pop.
We'll pop this off.
Pop that off. I just opened the cap a little bit. Opened the cap a little bit to get her to breathe. I noticed there was no fuel in the fuel line, so that's actually why it died. We opened the cap a little bit and fuel went ahead back into the float bowl. Okay, so it should probably fire right back up now.
Let's give it a try. There it is. Interesting. You just have to get used to it.
Yeah, there'll be some learning curve here and we'll get it all figured out today.
Well, at least I know that cap vent was no good, so.
It already sounds.
Oh yeah.
It sounds good. Man, it sounds really good. Hope you guys are enjoying this. We're having a good time.
Yes, we're having a great time.
All right, guys. So check your cap vents. This one was holding the fuel under vacuum, and it was not allowing the fuel to get into the bowl itself.
I bought an anodized cap vent, and it didn't work.
It sounds good.
It sounds really good, man. Oh, I just cracked the throttle on it.
This is the part where we start tuning.
We'll start tuning it now. We'll start.
Yeah, these are. We're gonna have to raise the idle a little bit, anyways. These need to be a little higher than, let's say, normal bikes.
Man, it sounds a lot nicer.
Engine's nice and quiet. Oh. All right, so I think we're a little bit fat or rich on the metering rod. The bike doesn't need a choke to start, so that is an indicator that the metering rod might be a little rich. It's kind of like if your pilot jet was too rich in your regular carburetor and you didn't need the choke. So we're probably gonna get it good and hot, go ride it. I can tell we have a little bit of adjustment to do, but when it revs, it already sounds quite a bit better and it starts pretty dang quickly as well.
See, it fires right up. That is so nice though, man. It's never done that.
It's never just started?
Never started like that. It pumps into the carburetor, pops into the box every single time for, like, I'm not kidding you, at least a minute.
And you just never get it to start easy.
So you bum start it, you know, push start it, or sometimes I have to kick start it, or I just have to just be patient and take 3 minutes.
You're bump starting your brand new bike.
I know it. That's not right.
No.
But this is so great.
It's a little rich. You guys can see the unburned fuel vapor, so we need to lean out that rod. We got a little flat spot on the bottom. We haven't even ridden it yet, but huge improvement, what'd you say?
Oh, great improvement. And then we found out the tip was, I had this plug here, on the tip on the vent was plugged. Now it works fine, everything. This is tremendous, man. This is 100%.
Coming together.
Oh yeah.
You ready to ride it?
I am, let's do it.
First ride, Lectron SR250s 2021 SR250s. She looks mean. She starts better.
Look at that. That's never done that.
Let her,
Never.
Fired right up.
Yes, it did.
Let her warm up and then we'll take off. You okay? Anything broken?
No.
Okay.
I just slipped.
It's slippery stuff.
Slippery.
Yeah, you okay though?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna kind of go ahead over here real quick just in case someone comes. Does she start after a wreck? Let's see. Good. only been 30 seconds and you already had a little encounter with the dirt, but any initial impressions?
Oh man, it runs a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot better. Now it's like responsive. It's warmed up. So now it's running good. When we first started going, it was bogging.
Yeah, a little dirty when it's cold.
Yep.
Can't wait to see as the day progresses what you think. So that's good news right off the bat. We're gonna stay off the ground, both of us.
Yeah.
Get it, Lenny?
Man, this thing, I got loose.
No, yeah, it's not, this is dry shit.
It is. I should have stayed over.
That's right, man. That's what the people want to see. Some carnage. Alright guys, we're going to do a quick metering rod adjustment. The bike's a little dirty on the bottom, and it also has the snorkeled air box. It's sort of constricted or sealed off like the 250X, the Honda 250X. We could probably pop that snorkel and get a little more air into the air filter area or the air box and get that to compete or blend better with the rich or somewhat dirty bottom end on the metering rod, or what I suspect is the metering rod. So we're going to pop the tank off, do a metering rod adjustment. I'll show you guys how to do that, and then we're going to take it back out and try again. All right guys, so metering rod adjustments are really simple. We got these 3 Phillips head screws on the top of the carb, and all you really need to do is bust those loose and get your slide out, and your metering rod sits in or lives in the middle of the slide, much like a needle would in the slide of a regular or traditional carburetor. So that's where we're headed, and all you need to do to spin or adjust the metering rod rather is to spin it. There's a special tool for that. I'll show you guys the special metering rod tool, and the reason we use that tool is because the metering rod is actually precision cut, CNC precision cut, and if you try to spin it with a pair of pliers or something, you can, but what the tool does is keep you from damaging, nicking, or messing up the face of the rod, because if you do that, it's unable to pull fuel up into the engine properly because you've damaged the profile. So down here we have the metering rod. It has a flat side and a round side. The flat side is always facing the engine's intake, and all you need to do to richen or lean is spin in or spin back down. So we're going to use the metering rod tool really quick. Len already has it out because he's a freaking amazing man. Here's a metering rod tool. Has a flat side there, as you can see, that sits against the rod. You just slide that on the rod, and you can richen it by turning clockwise, and you can lean it by turning counterclockwise. I like to spin it a quarter turn at a time. And then if you remember, I said the flat side of the rod always needs to face the engine. You push up, it's got a spring against it, and let it fall back down into its detent. And now the flat side is facing the engine again. So we leaned it a quarter turn. We're gonna try that. All I need to do now, put this back in the bike, put the tank on, and we're done. So adjustments are really that simple, if they even need to be made. All right guys, so we lowered the slide a little bit, AKA lowered the idle, leaned the metering rod out 1/4 turn. It doesn't bog. Oh, never mind, there's a bog. That was the first one. We are getting very close. Oh yeah, get it, Lenny. It's so slippery out here. The bike seems to be running much better. All right, I'm gonna take Lenny's whip out, see how this goes. That felt good. I've never ridden the 250. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. You guys tell me if your stock carburetor can do this by listening. You guys with 250s. As I don't normally ride the 250, and I can imagine the frustrations you guys have, but I'm not a 250 owner, so to me, that seems pretty consistent all the way through the power band. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. It's got a little, like a little flat spot on the bottom. I remember when I did my 300, I had a little flat spot on the bottom too, and it ended up just being a slack in the throttle cable. And if you guys remember earlier in the video, we don't have this threaded into the throttle housing here because it's the wrong thread pitch. So we do have a little tiny bit of slack in there, and maybe when we get that out, we get the proper threading in, it'll go away. But again, you guys listen to this. You tell me if this sounds better than your 250s with the stock carb. That feels really good to me. Right on the bottom. That's the only place I really feel like it has any soft spot. I bet we could get that tuned out by really just adjusting the extra slack out of the cable. We can't do that today, obviously. Hey man, it feels pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
good. Through
the gears, like with real fast shifts, that it has that little tiny soft spot at the bottom. I'm wondering if that's the throttle, the slack here, that we can't get to go away because we can't adjust the cable properly. Mine had that too, and it was like a really delicate balance of like raising the idle and getting the slack out of here. You got a nice little spider on your head. Man, that is so close. I'd be willing to bet too that if we could get this cable tensioned properly, that would help tremendously.
Let's go for a ride then.
Oh, no, man, it's my bike now, sorry. I don't know, guys. That sounds pretty good to me. That's cool. We got the starting really consistent for Len. It fires up every time. Just tap the button. That's huge progress. Lenny, did you have a fall?
Yep.
You lost the radiator.
Did I?
It's leaking.
Or is that the gas?
That might be the gas. Man, we're having bad luck.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
I think the petcock broke.
Well, guys, poor Lenny had another fall. Nothing is more exhausting than crashing, so he's had enough for the day. I don't blame him at all. And we got his bike. The 250 is so close. We made one metering rod adjustment on his bike today and adjusted the float a little bit. You guys didn't see that. I was just messing around with this float. We had an issue where the float bowl would fill up, and then the fuel inlet line, the yellow line, it would kind of start developing air bubbles, and it wasn't letting any fuel from the tank down, but also the fuel valve or the petcock was working just fine. So that's what led me to get into the adjusting the float height. It seemed to help, and then he said the bike was running really good, and then he had a little fall. And you guys know if you've fallen once, that's enough. You fall twice, it's pretty exhausting. So Len cannot stop raving about how well the bike starts, so that's a huge plus. So every time he just clicks the button, bike fires right up. I wanted this video to be a little more conclusive for you guys, but it works. The bike runs better. I think we made pretty good progress, so I really appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch up with Lenny in a minute. There he is. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today. First day with the 250S out at Hollister Hills with the first ever, as far as I know, Lectron Carb install on Len's bike. He was a wonderful guinea pig. Had a little bit of bad luck today. Yeah. Went down a couple times.
Went down a couple times, yeah.
And after I fall once, I'm pretty much done. So he's a soldier. He took a second lick. We lost the fuel petcock on his bike. It's leaking fuel, so we actually had to stop testing. We don't have a spare fuel petcock, obviously, not to mention one with a reserve and a regular feed. So overall, compared to the stock carb, what do you think?
It's 100% better. It's not popping back to the carburetor when you fire it up, and it's working smoothly. Like I said, before it wouldn't run.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't run. When it popped through, and it took at least 2 minutes to fire it up. Now, boom.
Yeah, it seems you touch the button and it fires up. It just idles clean. That was something that That was pretty cool for me.
Yeah, me too.
What do you think of the maybe very crack in the throttle?
I thought it was really great.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
You're happy with it?
It was good.
Okay.
Like when we got started, it was good.
Yeah.
And we were having some fuel issues before with the line and that. We kind of got that taken care of.
Yeah. And then on the TT track, you got to open it up. We got a clip of you flying by me like a wild beast.
And it really ran good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So aside from the issues we had, it can be done. We can put this in the 250. That's what we wanted to find out. So thank you very much for offering your time, driving down from Sacramento and being the guinea pig and offering up your bike and taking 2 good crashes for the test.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big ask. Yeah, I think for the 250 guys, I don't know how far back they've been making the 250, and I know some of the older 250s have a Del Toro carb. I think I mentioned that earlier today. Important to know, if we do a 250 carb together, the air boot is just a little bit too small for the rear bell on the Lectron carburetor. We did have to use some heat. It went on really easy once it was warm. That was great. You will have to modify your air boot. Not really that big of a deal. We brought a generator and a heat gun on a hunch that we might need it, and sure enough, we needed it, and sure enough, it worked great. I bet you could even do it with a blow dryer, to be perfectly honest. Thing number 2, neither one of these, the air boot or the second thing, were an issue on the 300. You guys are probably up to snuff on the 300 videos. They'll be in the description below. Thing number 2, the throttle cable that's specific for the Lectron. You cannot use your stock throttle cable. The Lectron throttle cable on the 250 throttle housing, at least, would not thread in. It's the wrong thread pitch. 300, it threaded right in. I'm gonna go ahead and research that. I believe there's a second smaller thread pitched cable for the Lectron itself. That's an issue. The cable, the air box to the rear of the Lectron is a little issue. We use heat, we're good. Riding the 250 myself, it was a lot like a memory of getting the 300 dialed. So much like the 300 by way of it waking up, starting more easily, and maybe being a little bit soft on the bottom, but it has a really smooth ramp up all the way through. And all in all, the thing doesn't give you any hell once it's dialed in. So anything else you'd like to add, or any initial thoughts throughout the day that caught your attention when you rode, or I'm just kind of rambling on?
Oh no, it was great. I mean, it was easy to ride. I didn't have to feather the throttle anymore and hassle with it. It was really great. I really appreciate everything you've done. And
well, it's my pleasure. Yeah,
I was glad.
Yeah,
I did.
We're making memories, man. Yeah, we're doing stuff for the people. This is for you guys. I mean, we hope you love it, so we'll keep doing it. Well, thanks for everything.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hope you guys had a great time. Don't forget to like, don't forget to sub. I would greatly appreciate it. I really appreciate the time you guys take to watch these videos, and until next time, I will see you then. All right, so Len and I are on the way home, and we're in a van, and he just said something that I told him I was gonna make him repeat, because he said, look, I gotta be honest with you, riding that bike, I had a huge smile on my face, and I was having the best time ever, but I didn't want to come off as over the top on the camera. And I get that, because when I first started filming stuff, I was like monotone. I had nothing. This guy's a natural on camera, but I think I really liked what you just said. I was wondering if you could reiterate a little bit of that for me.
Absolutely. I mean, today it was such a relief to be able to ride a bike I can enjoy now, because I wasn't enjoying it, and I was smiling because I could turn the throttle on and I could feel the motor work. I always knew it was there, but today it was there, and I was smiling. I was having a great time.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so I thank you again, and like the whole process today was outstanding, man. The bike, everything we made, every little step we made, it was like it was better and better and better. Now I feel like when I go home, I know exactly what to do. We'll turn it back, to Rich, and I'm there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that made it worth it for me, because today Len had some spills, and I wasn't sure how he was feeling, or if he was having a good time on the bike, because this man was quite composed all day long. And this is actually our first time ever hanging out together too, if you think about it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for thank you for telling me that I feel validated.
Oh man, no. Hey, falling off, that's just part of it.
Yeah.
It happens. Today I had a day. Like I told you, it's the worst day I ever rode in my life. But you know what? It was the funnest day because the bike runs now.
Yeah. Now
you know what I mean?
You can ride it now.
Yes. And like I told you, hey, I'm alive. I can breathe. There's no broken bones. I'm a little sore.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Good.
Yeah, that's a great day.
That stitches it up for me. So there you have it. The man is happy. And we hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I just thought that would be a fun little bonus footage. So keep kicking ass, and I'll talk to you soon.
Can we start again? I lost my